So welcome for today's lesson in the institutional correction. So for today, we're going to talk about the admission, confinement, and classification of prisoners. Now, what this mechanism seeks to avoid is the absurdity of inmates of being morally subjugated by its own peers by reason of age, notoriety, disability, and other factors beyond his personal competence to resist. So, yung main purpose ng admission, confinement, and classification is that para hindi siya madaog-daog sa kanyang mga kasamaan sa prison kasi either bata pa siya or matanda na siya. Yung when it comes to notoriety, kung notorious ba yung sa kanya. So, it is to prevent what we call this, para maging meaningless yung kanyang rehabilitation or yung kanyang reformation pala. Okay, there can never be a meaningful rehabilitation if the wards are being terrorized by the biting signs of coercion and oppressions. Prison statistics has shown names of inmates who entered as a cub but ended as a tiger. So, pwede kong halas, mahimo og kuan. Mahimo og, let's say, dragon. Jokes. Anyway, jokes lang. Okay, admission and confinement. Now, every prison has an admission and confinement zone or area. So, it is called the reception and diagnostic center. Now, dito sa admission ito, dito kapag na-admit ka, you will be received, you will be studied, and then later on you will be classified. So, 5 days ito. So, in that period of 5 days, their main objective is to classify you. But before that, they are going to study your case. So, dito sa loob ng 5 days, you will undergo physical examination, orientation of prison rules and regulations, and you will be interviewed in private. So, remember, 5 days. Dito sa RDC, Reception and Diagnostic Center. So, after that, you will spend 55 days for psychiatric, psychological, sociological, vocational, educational, religious, and other examinations. Now, after these examinations, the results will be the basis for the inmate's individualized treatment program with a recommendation by the Chief of Reception and Diagnostic Center. Tsaka ikaw ililipat sa kung saan ka dapat ilalagay. Depende sa kung ano yung assessment sa iyo para kung ano yung needs mo para ma-reform ka. Okay. In admission, you will be, it is needed to present the mitimus or the commitment order by the court, your information and court decision of your case, and certification of detention if any, and certification that the inmate is not on appeal. So, eto lang yung 4 na dapat i-present during admission. Okay, registration. A prison shall keep a bound registration book wherein all commitments shall be recorded chronologically. Okay, the register shall contain the following entries. First, name of inmate, reason for commitment and the authority therefore, sentence, date and hour of admission, date and hour of discharge and or transfer, and basis thereof. Next, in the admission process, after registration, the inmate shall be taken a mugshot. So, picture, front and side-by-side view, fingerprinted, and assign a permanent prison number. So, dito na pala, bibigyan siya ng prison number. Permanent prison and number. The inmate shall be given a prescribed haircut. Yay, mura ditag na sa Korea, North Korea. The beards and mustache shall be shaved off. The admission of an inmate shall be made in an area that is physically separated from the general prison population. So, dapat murag in secret yun from the other prisoners, okay? Body search of every inmate's personal effects is required. So, kakapan kung anong meron siya. Upon admission, the inmate shall be searched thoroughly. He shall be allowed to retain in his possession only authorized articles. A list of articles taken from the possession of the inmate shall be entered in the inmate's record, and receipt shall be provided to the guard in charge thereof. So, kukunin kung ano yung mga hindi allowed na gamit na suot-suot niya o meron siya kahit sa bulsa or tapos meron niyang nakarecord yan kung ano yon at kung sino ang kumuha. All articles taken from the inmate shall be returned to them upon discharge unless previously disposed at the inmate's request or ordered condemned by the prison superintendent after a lapse of 2 years. So, it's either yung items na iniwan, mawawala lang yon kung first, lalaya na siya at kukunin na niya. Second, kapag nag-request yung prisoner na sirain na lang yon. At third, kapag iniwan, tapos after 2 years, nag-order yung superintendent na sirain. Okay? So, tatlong situations. Confiscation of contraband items. If the inmate bring in any drugs or medicine, the medical officer on duty shall decide on its disposition. Narcotics and all other prohibited drugs or substances, the possession and or use of which are punishable under our laws. All types of weapons, substances, or chemical that may cause injury to a person, an item or article in which an inmate is not allowed to possess under prison rules shall be considered as contraband items and subject for confiscation. Blah, blah. So, klaro kung ano yung bawal. Kung meron siyang drugs or medicines, it will be upon the discretion of the medical officer kung paano yon. So, if kailangan yun para sa kanyang health, pwede ibibigay lang sa kanya during sa, what you call this, kung kailan na niya need i-take sa prescription pala. So, kung merong narcotics or other drugs, of course, confiscated. Kung merong mga weapons, all types of weapons, confiscated. Okay? Basta considered as contraband or dangerous to other prisoners. Now, issuance of uniform for the prisoners. The newly admitted inmate shall be given an issue of 2 regulation uniforms or suits and 2 t-shirts. Whenever practicable, they shall also be issued the following items. So, yung mandatory talaga, yung kailangan talaga ibigay sa kanila is yung 2 regulation uniform at saka 2 t-shirt. Okay? So, hindi talaga obligasyon ng prison na magbigay ng isang blanket, mat, mosquito net, 1 mess kit. Mess kit is yung para pangkain, plato, kutsara, tinidor, tsaka 1 pair of slipper. The inmate shall be held responsible and accountable for the items issued to them. So, kung ano masisira, merong kaparusahan doon. Okay? So, ano lang talaga, depende lang talaga sa kung kaya ng prison yung magbigay ng blanket, mat, etc. Personal effect of inmates. In addition to articles supplied by prison, the inmate may bring clothes and other items essential to his well-being, provided the quantity, nature, and dimension thereof do not interfere with the safety and living conditions of other inmates. Of course, dapat hindi makasagabal o hindi delikado sa kasamahan niyang prisoner. The prison superintendent may allow the inmate to bring electrical equipment like TV set, radio, cassette, video players, electric fan, and similar items provided the same is for common use with other inmates. So it is up to the prison superintendent kasi may allow, hindi nakalagay shall allow. Okay? So kapag stricto yung superintendent, yung warden, of course, wala. In no case, the inmates be allowed to bring in luxurious items such as air conditioners, carpets, sofa beds, sleeping mattress, washing machine, and the like. So, dapat practice kita panglaba dito, no? Practice pamaypay. So, wearing of jewelry. An inmate may not wear jewelry items. They may, however, be allowed to wear an inexpensive watch. Okay? So, klaro, watch lang ang kailangan. So, kung yung mga singsing, mga kwintas, mga bracelets nyo, dapat iiwan yan during admission sa registration. Okay? Classification of inmates. Okay, why is there a need to classify inmates? Okay, classification board consists of so on and so forth. The inmates shall be classified as to security status, as to entitlement to prison privilege. So, of course, there are different privileges for in a prison, but it's not applicable to all. Okay? General classification of prisoners. For sentenced prisoners, okay. So, i-classify muna yung kung ano yung mga klaseng prisoners sila. So, sentenced prisoners ay yung mga nahatulan na ng criminal case sa korte. Detention prisoners are prisoners that are detained because they are undergoing investigation or yung trial nila is hindi pa tapos. The three general classification of jail inmates. Now, sentenced prisoners, yun, may final judgment na. Detention prisoners ay yung may violation ng ordinances. Tapos, yung mga tao na under investigation. Either, let's say, suspect pa lang sila, but kahit wala pang case naka-file sa kanila, they are considered as persons under investigation. Kasi hindi naman hindi naman talaga necessary na kailangan mong i-detain yung isang witness. Of course, a witness shall voluntarily come or cooperate with the police. Hindi sa pilitan. Lalo na kung walang ebidensya yung police na isa siyang witness. Okay? So, sentence ay yung na-judge ng may final judgment. Yung detention prisoners is yung hindi pa tapos yung kaso. Persons under investigation or interrogation ay yung mga possible witness or suspect. Okay? So, as classification as to sentence, alam nyo na ito, municipal jail, the lowest, 1 day to 6 months, city jail prisoners, 1 day to 3 years, provincial jail prisoners, 6 months and 1 day to 3 years, national, 3 years and 1 day to death. Now, classification of inmates as to security status. We have 3 maximum security, medium, and minimum. Sa maximum, ito yung mga inmates na super risky yung security nila. Kailangan talaga nila ng tight security kasi malaki yung chance na makapanakit pa ng ibang prisoner or makatakas. Now, dito naman sa medium ay yung mga prisoners na hindi kailangan talagang mahigpit pero may chance din na tumakas. Dito sa minimum ay yung mga talaga yung mga prisoners na kahit hindi mo nabantayan ay hindi sila tatakas. Katulad doon sa Palawan. Okay? Kasi masaya na yung prisoner doon kahit nga yung laya na-serve na niya yung sentence, ayaw pang umalis kasi naka-establish na sila ng kanilang livelihood doon. So, masaya na sila. Meron na silang asawa doon. Sana all. Now, as for the color of uniform, as to security classification, maximum is tangerine, medium is blue, minimum is brown, and detainee is gray. Now, take note, lumabas ito sa board exam during my time. So, next is, why is there a need to classify prisoners? Okay, bakit nga? So, I will be giving that assignment to you and you will be given 1 week pa rin kasi we are all busy. I know you have other subjects to attend to yung atupagin. So, I'm not going to give you any more hassle. So, for next week, you have to submit it next week. After 1 week from the release of this video, you are going to submit the reason why is there a need to classify prisoners. Okay, so I think that's it. So, advance Merry Christmas to all.